Perfect with no flaws at all are the laws of Allah. A way of life, a way of life, a way of life, a way of life. Islam is a way of life.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad. Amma ba'd, brothers and sisters in Islam, welcome to a new episode on the topic of marriage. And in our last episode, we started to speak about the idea of the in-laws in this marriage contract. And however, we did not dwell into this issue enough. We just basically scratched the surface. So how about we try that? The in-laws, what is their role? How do we understand them? What are their rights? To what extent can they get involved in the whole marriage contract? Perhaps you would like to elaborate on this, my dear guest.
I'll start off with this one. I think there's a principle that the husband and wife need to agree on from the beginning. We call it the principle of shughul al-bayt. Shughul al-bayt means this is the affairs of the house, they don't go outside the house. And this is the advice we hear Sheikh say again and again, that what happens in the house stays in the house. And even if there's children there that might know like stories of what's happening, that even the children know what happens in the house stays in the house. And I think if a husband and wife, that even when you're looking to get married, from the very beginning, say, of course we respect our in-laws, but let's agree from the beginning that what happens in the house stays in the house.
Is it possible that someone takes this to some extreme and therefore when consultation is required, they don't consult anyone because they say, well, everything should remain in the home? Or do we have to explain that there are times when you have to go outside to resolve internal domestic problems?
That for sure, those situations will come up, right? Where maybe the woman is being physically abused and he's saying, just keep it in the house or something like that. She might need to go and speak to somebody, but obviously those are going to be cases that they'll come up.
Yeah, Sheikh Mohammed, one of the issues that I find myself dealing with, sort of a lot of extremes in this case of the in-laws. I mentioned in the previous episode, the husband often listening to his mother so much that he actually, astaghfirullah, even makes dhulm on his, and I deal with this a lot, very sad. Then another thing that often happens, still we're sticking on the topic of the men a little bit here, is that he doesn't encourage, or sometimes he totally neglects his in-laws. And I'm guessing there's this sort of culture is that the man's job is to look after the mother. The man thinks that now you're my wife, your responsibility is to look after me, your parents are not important. This is totally wrong. He should be encouraging his wife. Did you phone your mom? Did you phone your dad? We need to go and see your parents because you still have to care for them and look. And he should help her to keep this connection with her parents, not prevent it, as unfortunately we find in some instances, which is a very, very wrong thing. Alhamdulillah.
Now, Sheikh, do you agree with him on that?
Yeah, I like to add something, brothers, here, if you don't mind. Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalam ala rasulullah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala man tabi'a huda ila yawmiddin. Amma ba'd. The issue of the in-laws. Before we elaborate more on this issue, I would like to talk about love.
Oh.
Yes.
Love in marriage?
Yes. Life, okay, is based on love. And when you love someone, you will sacrifice. And life is about sacrificing. And life is about give and take. Okay? And every one of us should memorize and should keep always this law in front of him, the law of love. The law of love states, you love what your beloved loves, and you hate what your beloved hates. This is the law of love. If I love someone, I will love whatever he loves, as long as what he loves is not haram. And I will hate what he hates. And an Englishman would say, love me, love my dog, right? That's what the Englishman says. Love me, love my dog. Which means that if you love me, you will love me, love my family, love my relatives. And likewise, if I love you, I will love you, your family, your mother, your father, etc. An Arab poet said, وَأُحِبُّهَا وَتُحِبُّنِي وَيُحِبُّ نَاقَتْهَا بَعِيرِي. Allahu Akbar. This is what he said. This is love, brothers and sisters. The meaning, he said, this is before Islam. He said, I love her and she loves me. And my camel loves her she-camel. That even the animals, they love each other. So if you love your wife really, or if you love your husband, you will love her parents. And if you love your wife, you will love her parents. And if she loves you, she will love your parents. Because she loves you, they become her parents naturally. True or not? There are exceptions. Some in-laws may be giving you a tough time and things like this. But we are talking about what Islam is teaching us. What Islam is teaching us, that we have to be nice and good and not depriving her or encouraging her to cut the ties with her kindred, with her kith and kin. Some husbands, unfortunately, they do that.
I wanted to make a very, mashallah, I mean, what the Sheikh said is...
Yes, many, they do this, and we face problems, which is wrong. You are committing a sin. Even some, maybe you will not allow her to call them or to help them. Or you're telling her that I am not obligated. Yes, it's not a matter of obligation. But they are Muslims, and that you are well off, and they are in need. What is wrong with this? So this, what will actually bring the ties and strengthen the ties of the marital relationship, that when this mutual respect and love is there, dominating the marital life.
Of course, I have to say this for the viewers. We are speaking about what to look for in the potential spouse. No one is insinuating that you fall in love before marriage and you become madly in love so that will happen afterwards, okay? Because some may think, okay, so
no, in Islam, I think
after
Muslims,
marriage,
yes.
after marriage, love is the one that will resolve the problems. But now before marriage, that is something you can't possibly figure out.
And also, if I may comment, I beg to differ, because the terminology love is not what marriages are based on. Not all marriages are based on love. So you find someone who is married for 40 years to his wife, and not necessarily he's madly in love with her, as the word love means. There's respect, there is affection, there is mercy, and there is repose in them, but not necessarily the word love as people may think of. First of all. Second of all,
I beg also to differ with him.
Mashallah.
Okay? The love is there. And we go back, brothers and sisters. Who's your example?
Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
And see his love for his wives, for Aisha, for all of them. So this is very important, because we have to keep in mind, some of us as men, due to the upbringing, especially I want to admit the Arabs in particular, especially those who grew up in Arabia, it's because of the environment and the harsh. We have this in us. But our criterion and what we refer to is the Islam. And our example is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is it. And love is essential. Love not only essential, even the ibadah is based on love.
But can I say something in defense of Sheikh Asim? Just a little bit. I think he is, of course, agreeing with you totally on the importance of love. And I think we need to make more of an effort. If you don't find this, why don't you make dua to Allah, increase the love for my wife? But I think the Sheikh is making a point that actually, in reality, out there, I'm sure there may be people watching us who don't feel that love in their relationship. But, for them, it's a relationship that works. Maybe it's based upon family ties, that's something that keeps it together. Maybe it's the children that's keeping it going. Maybe they don't feel this type of love. But that doesn't mean they can't have the mutual respect for their in-laws and so on and so forth. So I think
I was going to say the same thing, because
like
someone
Sheikh
may think
Asim say it.
there's no love and therefore there should be divorce.
Jazakumullah khair for all what you've said. I agree with Sheikh Salim, but I beg to differ for the second or third time. I lost count.
It isn't agreeing with me as well.
Okay, now I agree with you.
Alhamdulillah.
See, Akhi, what I meant when I said about love is mentioned also in the Sunnah or the Athar of the companion. The Umar ibn Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, was met by a man who wanted to divorce his wife. So he asked him, why do you want to divorce her? He said, because I don't love her. And Umar almost beat him with a stick in his hand. He said,
Umar ibn Khattab.
Yes, Umar ibn Khattab. Are all houses built on love? Meaning that marriages are not built only on love, that the one we see, candlelight dinner and a violin. next to you and violin is haram. Huh? Candlelight is okay, dinner. But it is not built on that kind of love. Maybe we may interpret or define love that Sheikh Salim is talking about is respect, compassion, love, mercy, etc. This is point number one, but I think we have a break. There is another point I'd like to pick up afterwards, inshallah.
And you shall, inshallah ta'ala. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Way of life.
And we're back. So love is in the air, or is it?
Well, the second point is, I don't know about if love is in the air or not, but inshallah it would be. And love would be spread all over the entire earth. The second point I wanted to bring up is that once, a couple of years ago, I was driving and this guy behind me giving me a high beam and low beam and honking me. And the road is so wide. What is this guy doing? So, you know, I got hot-tempered and I parked and I came out of the car and the guy came out of the car and he said, "Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh Asim." I cooled down. Then the guy wanted to ask me a question. He didn't want to pick a fight, so alhamdulillah. So I said, "What's wrong?" And he started complaining about his marriage. And he said that I want to divorce my wife. So I asked him, "Is she evil?" He said, "No, mashallah, she is half of the Quran. She is a wonderful wife, always neatly dressed in the house. And she takes care of my child. And she's a good cook. And my family loves her." I said, "So why do you want to divorce her?" He said, "I don't find this gut feeling of love." And I say, "Akhi, subhanallah, you have a jewel. Do you watch TV a lot?" Wallahi, this is what I asked the guy. And the guy looked at the ground and said, "Yes." And he said, "You watch soap operas and movies?" He said, "A lot. I spend like 6-7 hours." He said, "This is what's corrupting your house. Because now you think that the love that is found in movies, where when you don't see your loved one, your sleepless nights and you write poems, etc. This is not the actual love that is found in our houses. All of us, we're all married, alhamdulillah. We love our wives. But it is not the love that sustains the marriage. It is the responsibilities that I have to do. It is the rights my wives give me. And it is the mutual respect and compassion and affection that's with us. And Allah knows best.
Okay, and no one will disagree with this. But love, the problem that the concept even of love today is misunderstood. Okay, so we are talking about the real love. When you love someone. If you love your wife, isn't a sign of love that you don't want her to go to hell? And that's why you are trying hard to improve her iman and to encourage her? That means you love her. Because the true love is that when you love someone, you want to save him. You want him to save him from the hellfire. You want her to be with you in the next life. This means that when even jealousy is a very important element. A husband has to be jealous. Good jealousy, yes. And a woman likes that when you feel jealous over her. Not over-jealous, but you feel jealous. So subhanallah, many of the Sahaba.
Can you give us example?
Yes, Sayyidina Sa'ad radiyallahu anhu. It is the ghaira.
We're ajmi.
Okay? So this is it, that you feel that this is a woman, I have to protect her, she is a jewel, she is a piece of diamond. I don't want anyone to touch this precious stone. Oh, it's something valuable. So this creates that jealousy in you. And the Sahaba, one day the Prophet ﷺ said that if you, God forbid, if you find a man, okay, with your partner, go and bring eyewitnesses. Sayyidina Sa'ad said, "What? You want me to wait and go and bring eyewitnesses? By Allah, I will cut him into pieces with my sword." And the Prophet ﷺ said, "Oh Sa'ad, this is the ruling of Allah." The Sahaba, the Ansar said, "Oh Prophet of Allah, forgive him. We know he's very jealous. He's the most jealous among us, right? The most jealous." Even they said, if he married a woman, any woman that was married to him, then he divorced her, none of us would dare to marry her.
This was pre-Islam.
Pre-Islam.
Subhanallah.
And if one of his wives, okay, she rode or a beast or a camel, the moment the camel reaches the destination, he would slaughter the camel.
Allah.
He would not want anyone to sit on that camel that his wife mounted. So this is of course going to the extreme.
That's an expensive ride.
Okay, this is going to the extreme. So the jealousy is needed. And love is needed, but not love in the sense of what we read in the novels and the movies. No, not this love we are talking about. But it is an important element in the marital life. She needs to hear from you. I'm talking about myself. A woman, he needs to hear from you this beautiful word. Yes, darling. Yes, sweetheart. Yes, love. Yes, honey. Yes.
So he should, basically you're saying, Sheikh, he should be romantic.
Exactly.
He should be romantic.
I was in Boston in the United States, and the brothers, they say, give a talk to the sisters, and I gave a talk to the sisters, and I was telling them you have to be this, take care of yourself, and this and that. One of the sisters, you know, mashallah, many of the American sisters, they call a spade a spade. I said, what are you talking about? Okay? We have a problem here. I said, what is it? All of them screamed simultaneously. Romance. We want romance. Romance is essential in the marital life. Yes. What is wrong if you go and bring a bouquet of flower?
It's too expensive.
This is a stinginess. We talked about generosity.
Yes, no,
Okay?
you're very...
Bring this bouquet of flower. Bring her a gift. And come and say, darling, you know, guess what? Close your eyes. Yes, yes. Close your eyes. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. You make her day. You make her day. The girls are very poor, masakeen, wallahi. When they hear these beautiful words, we say in Arabic, she will give you her eyes. Listen to this, my dear brother. The Prophet ﷺ in the hadith, كَرِهَ السَّهَرْ بَعْدَ الْعِشَاءِ. The Prophet ﷺ, he hates staying awake after Isha, except with his wives, chatting. Do we do this? Do we sit with our wives and chat? Let them do the talk. And this is very essential. We have to keep just nodding our heads. Don't interrupt. Yes. Let her bring us everything. She needs, the poor girl wants to bring everything out. Let her vent it. Let it come out. Listen. This is very essential. Be all ears, attentive to her. And even if she says something, she is wrong, you say, yes, you are right, you are right.
Another way of showing love is in famous hadith that the women quote. I was always thinking of compiling a book, the 40 hadith that the women quote. One of them is the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, كَانَ فِي مِهْنَةِ أَهْلِ. That's their favorite hadith, that the Prophet ﷺ used to be in the service of his wives. They love that. But I'm saying for the men, that they also can, when they're going into their marriage, show their love by washing the dishes sometimes. Show their love,
cooking.
Taking the, cooking, I don't know, not
Boil
all of
some
us are
eggs.
good at cooking, but take the garbage out. I'm gonna, fix the bed after the brother gets up.
Taking the garbage out is the man's job, right? I mean, the wife shouldn't be taking the... Anyway, no. But I get what you're saying, Sheikh, mashallah. Alhamdulillah.
And I believe that there are lots of qualities needed in a future spouse, for future husband. So the sisters, for example, would look for someone showing his jealousy in a positive way. And that is by concealing her secrets. There are men who are male, but not men, actually. They're male. They go and sit with the boys and say, well, I did this and that with my wife. And they expose their secret. And they talk dirty. And the Prophet told us, ﷺ, that this is a feature of the people of hell. And any person doing this and talking to others about their intimacy and the secrets is like a donkey or a male and female devils having intercourse in the middle of the road. And this is not befitting a Muslim man. So this is what a wife, what a woman looks in a husband. Also, I don't know if you may agree with me, self-hygiene. A woman looks in a man to be clean, to look presentable, and to smell good. So many times sisters complain from practicing brothers that their husbands, their beards smell awful, their mouth smells awful. And we as men expect our women to be in top-notch form. But we fail to do this ourselves. The Prophet ﷺ used to begin, the first thing when he enters his house is by brushing his teeth. And he used to love perfumes. So a woman looks in a man such a feature.
No. And other qualities are there.
Let us elaborate on this. It's a very important point. The issue that of looking presentable and smelling nice. And the Prophet ﷺ is always the example. And the reason that he would brush his teeth, because the first thing he would do, that he would kiss his wives. This is sunnah.
And this is part of showing your love, right?
Yes.
And he would kiss them even before he went to pray in the masjid. He would go.
Even
So very, very.
So this is sunnah. So the having good smell and look presentable, she's a human being at the end of the day. Not that you come from outside sweating and this and you want her to come to bed.
Sure.
That doesn't work. That is her right by Allah. Allah Azza wa Jal made it, that is her right.
Just so that there will be no misunderstanding. Sometimes I find some things that I interject for the benefit of the viewers. The kiss that we're speaking about is not that other kind of kiss before you go to the masjid.
No, that is becking in English.
Right.
To beck someone.
There
it's
you
not
go.
French kiss.
Not
okay?
that, big old
It is not
stuff.
the French kiss.
Yeah, otherwise you
okay?
may not go to the masjid.
Okay, that should be clear to the people. So the Prophet ﷺ, he is the example. And the woman who came to Sayyidina Umar is before the salah is going to make you get excited. It will nullify your wudu. Unless something got wrong with the that person. Okay?
Maybe you just need more to get you excited than a French.
Okay, so here this woman came to Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu. He said, I don't want to live with him. I don't want to live with him. He said, why? What's wrong? Call him. Call her husband. The husband came, mashallah, his hair, every stand is standing. I can imagine, visualize the scene. Dirty clothes. He said, go, take a shower, comb your hair, dress up and come nicely. Put on new, clean clothes. Mashallah, he came back like a groom. How about now? He said, I have no problem. So this is something natural. This is the right. This is our Islam. The problem, brothers and sisters everywhere, that we are away from our Islam. The solution is in our deen. And Muhammad ﷺ is the example. Just learn your deen and you will have the best life in this life and in the one to come.
Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
A way of